Hey, thanks for checking out my video on the new coaching hires in the NFL so far this season or off season. As of the filming of this video, there have been 5 vacancies filled by NFL teams in their coaching searches. What I find interesting is that 3 defense coordinators have been named as head coaches. In a pass happy NFL, to me, that's a little odd. But these teams must really have high confidence in these coaches to be hiring defensive coordinators. Because a lot of teams, they want an offensive coordinator, offensive minded coach, and pair him up with a quarterback. And so far, been 3 defensive coordinators hired, one offensive minded head coach with experience, and of course Harbaugh, who was a special teams coach before being a head coach, very successful head coach for many years. Let's look at the New York Giants. They hired John Harbaugh, who had been recently fired by the Baltimore Ravens. Harbaugh has a Super Bowl ring, plenty of playoff success, long-term coach. I believe he coached for 18 years. I might be mistaken, but I think that's right. I think Harbaugh's a good coach. I think the Giants are in a pretty good position cap-wise. I believe they may have found their quarterback if they can keep him healthy. Scadaboo's popular, but he won't play long because he's going to get killed the way he plays so aggressively. But there's some pieces there with the Giants, and Harbaugh can probably stabilize that team and get them headed in the right direction. I believe John Harbaugh was an excellent hire for the New York Giants. The Baltimore Ravens have hired Jesse Minter, who was the defense coordinator for the Chargers. He was also an assistant coach under John Harbaugh earlier in his career with the Ravens. And Minter is the first defensive-minded head coach in the Baltimore Ravens history. Now, of course, the Ravens used to be the Cleveland Browns, but I believe they give all of that past Browns glory to the current Cleveland Browns, who was an expansion team. So the Ravens only claim stuff that's happened since they were the Ravens. Their head coaches were Ted Marchibroda and Brian Billick, who were offensive-minded coaches. It's interesting that the Ravens won the Super Bowl under Billick with a dominant defense, even though he was an offensive-minded coach. All right, the Atlanta Falcons have hired Kevin Stefanski. He was 2-time Coach of the Year with the Browns, ran into a feud with ownership over Shedeur Sanders, and the owners are going to win that battle. The Browns did underachieve a little bit, and I don't think Stefanski handled Sanders correctly, but he didn't want Sanders. Then it turned out Sanders is probably better than Gabriel, who Stefanski did want. But who knows? They were rookies. They could both have 10-year solid careers, or they could both be out of the league in 2 years. Who knows? Robert Saleh has been hired by the Tennessee Titans. Saleh is a very good defensive coordinator. He was defense coordinator for the 49ers, I think, twice. And has always been successful until he's become the head coach of the Jets. A lot of people were unsuccessful as head coaches of the Jets. I mostly remember him for his press conferences where he basically slobbered all over Aaron Rodgers. But who knows? I think he's probably a good coach. Tennessee is a little bit better than the Jets as an organization, in my opinion, but not much. They did fire Vrabel for saying hurtful things to people. And now the coaches that don't say hurtful things to people end up getting fired in Tennessee because they can't win. But I like the Robert Saleh hire. I think he's solid. If he can get the right offensive staff in there to get their quarterback up to speed, I think that he'll do fine. Jeff Hafley has been hired by the Miami Dolphins. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He's interesting to me because he was a defensive coach. He was a defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. and he was a wide receiver and when he played college football. So he played offense and twisted defense in the coaching ranks. That's interesting to me. That's the guy I know the least about, of course, because the other guys have been head coaches before. But he seems well regarded around the league. The Dolphins' big problem is going to be what to do with Tua. If they get rid of him, it's going to destroy their cap. If they keep him and play him, he's probably not going to play well. Tua has the concussion history going on, and to me, he become lackluster when he signed his contract and got paid. Seemed like he lost interest a little bit, but that's just me looking from afar. I'm not a Dolphins fan. Haven't watched him a whole lot, but he just seems to have lost some of his motivation, which happens when you get rich sometimes. If 10 million people of you watch this video and I get paid, I'll lose my motivation. But I really like these hires so far in the coaching hiring cycle. I like the Harbaugh hire. Jesse Minter's interesting to me. And Stefanski, unfortunately, I believe he's a good coach. As a Panthers fan, I'm not looking forward to him coaching against my team this year or in the future. The Falcons have an interesting quarterback situation. Young, unproven, injured quarterback, and then old Cousins, injured quarterback who played well down the stretch. And getting their quarterback situation ironed out is going to be the first thing he has to do. There's a lot of talent on this Falcons team. I think both the Falcons and the Saints are going to step up this year. And I think Tampa Bay is going to step back. And I just hope my Panthers can step up, but that's undecided at this time. So these are my thoughts on the current hires. Of course, there are going to be some more hires. Buffalo's interesting. That's probably the best job that was available. Although you might argue that the Steelers' job is the best job because they don't fire their coaches. I think they've had 3 coaches since 1969, which was the year I was born. So you got long-term stability if you become the Steelers head coach, unless maybe you're just dreadful. Then they might get rid of somebody. But they believe in giving the coaches a long leash. But this is my thoughts on these coaching hires so far. This video was shot on Friday before the big ice storm. I'm going to try to schedule it to come out on Monday if I can figure out how to do that. If you like hearing a old redneck blogger talk about football, please like, share, and follow. And I would appreciate it. I'm a former blogger for many years for various different websites, and used to be followed on Twitter by the Carolina Panthers when I was a Panthers blogger. I'm not well spoken, and Lord knows I'm not good looking, but I think I know about football. I have a passion for it, knowledge about it that I like to talk about and share. This is the Football Then and Now channel, where I'll talk about past football and what's going on now. Thanks for watching.